Episode 5. Who was the disguised man? As Dawn and the security in charge person moved towards the security room, Sawyer was already waiting for them. Sawyer felt that he knew the person and have seen the disguised person somewhere. Dawn and the security in charge person from the demon sect entered the room where Sawyer was already examining the image. "Sir," said the in-charge security man to Sawyer, "this is Dawn. He is a security guard from Johns Hopkins University, and he was fortunately here to check on Alex. One of our other security people had seen him and informed me about his work. I asked Mr. Dawn to look at the image, and if he could help us enlarge the image for better look at the suspect." "Hello, Mr. Dawn. I'm Sawyer, and I am currently looking after the security and protection for Alex. I hope you could help us with this issue and figure out who this person is. Just an enlarged image of this man would be enough," requested Sawyer to Dawn. "Yes, of course. I would be very happy to help you with the CCTV and its functions. I am aware of the CCTV that is installed here, and we have the same company's CCTV, even at our university. These are Honeywell's CCTV, and I believe we have IP cameras installed here. There should be an NVR here, where we can do digital zoom on the specific part of the footage," replied Dawn to Sawyer. "So, which part of the footage do you want to be zoomed?" asked Dawn to Sawyer. "That part where there is a lean body-shaped person with a black coat and hat there," as Sawyer said to Dawn by pointing his finger to the disguised man in the monitor. "Okay, I think I can zoom on the footage where the man was standing. But sir, the quality will not be one of the best, since we will be doing a digital zoom of the footage," said Dawn to Sawyer. "It's okay. For now, that will suffice," replied Sawyer to Dawn. Dawn quickly checked the NVR and proceeded towards the software of Honeywell. He opened the software and right-clicked on the portion where the man was standing. The picture could be zoomed up to 16x, and since the lens of the camera was 12 nm, the photo of the man was slightly visible. "Sir, this is the best this software could do. Had it been an optical zoomed footage, the image would have been a bit clearer," said Dawn. "This will do. I just need to check something," replied Sawyer. Sawyer was focusing on the person in disguise. He couldn't help but notice that something was familiar with this man, but he couldn't understand what it was. Sawyer closed his eyes and kept thinking, where did he see the man? Dawn asked Sawyer, "Do you need a printout of this image?" "I can do that if you want." "Yes, that will be helpful," said Sawyer. "There is a printer in the medicine counter near room 32, replied the man in charge. So Dawn took a flash drive and copied the cropped image of the man in disguise. All three of them headed towards room 32. Dawn told the person in the medicine counter, "Sir, we would like 2 copies of the image file to be printed out, and do make it color print." "Sure, give me a minute," replied the person at medicine counter. As Dawn, Sawyer, and the security person in charge were printing out the image, the people at room 1 were still sharing stories. It had been all day, and all of them haven't eaten much during this period. Marianne suggested,
"I think we should have something. And if you won't mind, I have already booked Hotel 4 Seasons for all of you. If you won't mind stay. I know you all have been very busy, and yet decided to arrive here as soon as possible. So I thought instead of flying back to New York or DC, you can stay here at Baltimore."
All of them were very happy that Marianne managed them not only a warm welcome but also thought of their night stay. Alex's mother was the first one to reply to that suggestion.
"It's very thoughtful of you, Marianne, and I'm very happy you have thought for all of us. However, it won't be necessary of booking rooms, because I know the CEO of the 4 Seasons Hotels and Resorts, Mr. Alejandro Reynal, and I can text him, so that you all can live there if you want to, as long as Alex recover."
Most of them were really amazed by how much Flora cared about them, and all were very happy to accept the offer.
"Sure, Mrs. Ambrose, that would be a better plan."
Marianne was very happy hearing that, and she was surprised that Ambrose family had so much influence in all over the country. David and Lindsay were happy to hear that, because both of them were very tired since they had driven all day and were very tired. "Thank you, Mrs. Ambrose, for your generous approach," replied David. Kelly, Nellie, Rose, all of them were happy too. Rose thought to herself,
"Mrs. Ambrose is so much powerful and rich. She is business partner with one of the fine hotel businesses like 4 Seasons Hotel and Resorts, which is a 5-star hotel in all over the world. I have only heard of these hotels and never stayed for more than a week. And yet Mrs. Ambrose can book the hotel for more than a week or even months. I could use a warm bath now, and maybe I should tell my parents that I'll be here at Baltimore for some more time than I expected."
As Rose was deep in her thoughts, Flora had already called Alejandro Reynal and asked him to get the best of the rooms.
"Hello, Mr. Reynal, this is Flora Ambrose,"
said Flora. "Hello, Mrs. Ambrose. It's been a long time since I got a call from you. Where are you calling from? How can I assist you?" Mr. Reynal knew that Flora was handling various business of the Ambrose family, and she would mostly book them hotels for business meetings as well as for other business guests. Are you at Milan, or at Paris today? Asked Mr. Raynal. He knew that Flora mostly handled the European part of Ambrose's family business and she would, generally, book hotels there.
Actually, I am here at Baltimore. I have some very important guests, and they would be having to stay here for some time. I would like to book rooms for our guests for some time and will be staying at your finest rooms.
Oh, you're back in the States. Sure, Mrs. Ambrose. I will inform our regional vice president and general manager of the hotel at Baltimore, and you will get a call within minutes about the rooms. I believe our general manager, Mr. Sapai, will call you and inform you about the bookings and procedures, and your guests can stay there as many days as they want.
Thank you, Mr. Raynal. This was very helpful,
said Flora. It's always pleasure to assist you, Mrs. Ambrose, replied Mr. Raynal. After that, Flora hung up the call. It was already past noon, and all of the visitors looked tired. Although they were tired, nobody showed any sign of tiredness. Debbie said,
I will wait here and you guys can go. And if anyone wants to leave can also leave, as I believe most of you have work to do. Thank you, Mrs. Ambrose, for your kind gesture. It means a lot for all of us. Lindsay, you and David can leave for DC tomorrow if you have other business to work for, and if anybody have important work they can also leave. You all showed up, which made me very happy.
This is the least I can do for you all who have come here for my son. No need to thank me. It was my pleasure to do this,
replied Flora. I can stay tomorrow, but maybe I'll leave the day after tomorrow, as I have the pending business deal that I was supposed to do today, replied David to Debbie.
I'm not leaving to DC, sis. I'll be staying here until Alex and you both recover from this situation,
replied Lindsay to Debbie. As all these talks were going on, Daisy, who was the youngest of them all in the room, was checking her phone and about the Four Seasons hotels. She was so excited that she will be finally staying at a 5-star hotel, and not just for a day, but as much as she wanted with no barrier. She wondered,
I have never seen a 5-star hotel, let alone stay in one. I have to convince Dawn to let me stay here. By any means, I will be finally staying in a hotel, and not any hotels, but one of the costliest and high-end hotel. I should not miss this opportunity.
She was so excited that she had already planned what she'll be telling Dawn to convince him.
I'll say that I have completed my studies for my fall semester, and I can bring my books here, and it will be very cozy to study here than in our apartment.
She then said to Debbie,
Hello, I'm Daisy, Dawn's sister, and I am studying in university. As much as I want to stay in the hotel, I'll have to ask my brother Dawn to stay at the hotel.
Although Daisy already planned to stay at the hotel, she still was very compliant to her brother and never disobey his decisions.
I can understand, Daisy. Surely you can ask Don and decide what you two want. Let him return and you can decide whether you want to stay or leave,
said Debbie.
Thank you for understanding. I am sure Dawn will be very happy to hear this offer,
Daisy replied. She was the most excited out of all the people in the room. She was hoping Dawn would understand and give her to stay there. She thought,
if Dawn wants to leave, he can go, but I'll not be leaving the hotel. I can surely study from the hotel and prepare for fall semester exams. Also, I have already completed most of my projects, so there will be no problem for the exam,
she thought to herself.
Okay, I've got a message from the general manager and your rooms are set. Anything else you all need you can directly tell to the in-charge or tell about Mr. Sapahi or inform me.
Rose was also happy hearing this. She has changed, but she still desired a lavish life. Although she has changed how she was before, she never stopped loving the life of a rich person. On the other hand, Dawn gave the printout images to Sawyer and returned back to the room where Alex was treated. Dawn thought, I can teach some of the basic functions to in-charged man at the security before I leave to the university. I can also give him my number so that he can call if any issues happen in future. And since these are IP cameras, I can work with TeamViewer and take remote from my security room. As he entered the room, all the people were looking at him. He wondered, why are all of them looking at me like this? Did I do something wrong? Or did leaving in the middle of the conversation was rude of me? I hope they don't find it rude because I was there for some security problem. I hope they understand this. As Dawn was thinking this, Daisy hugged him and whispered near his ear,
Please, brother, don't say no. I don't want to embarrass myself in front of everyone.
Dawn replied, but for what? As they finished their hug, Marian said,
Don, Mrs. Ambrose wants us to stay in the Four Seasons Hotel, and she have already booked rooms for all of us as long as you want to stay till Alex recover. All of us who are from DC or New York or even Baltimore can stay there if they wanted to. However, Daisy wanted to ask you for your permission to stay there, so we were waiting for your decision.
So, this is why you hugged me out of nowhere, Daisy. I know you want me to say yes, but I'm afraid I will not be able to stay here since I've worked from tomorrow. Dawn worked at Johns Hopkins University and he hardly had leave, so staying there will be a problem for him. He replied, "Thank you, Mrs. Ambrose, for your generosity, and as much as I want to stay at the hotel, I still have to go to work from tomorrow." Hearing this, Daisy's eyes were filled with sadness and she was about to tear up. "But Daisy can accompany you all, and hope she can stay in the hotel on my behalf. I can visit her on my off days and meet her." Hearing this, Daisy was on cloud nine. She said,
Thank you so much, bro. You're the best. I can bring some of my books tomorrow and prepare my studies here. And don't worry about me, I'll be fine as I'll be here with some of the nicest people in this room.
Everyone was smiling seeing Daisy's reaction and happy that Dawn made this decision. Dawn was thinking to himself, "I'm sorry sis, I couldn't stay. And I know how much happy you'll be to stay in a big hotel like this. I'm sorry I couldn't afford the luxury to make you stay in such big hotels by my own, but I believe this is a sign from God. He's watching us, and all because of Alex we're getting this opportunity to stay at such luxury places. I'm sure I can take a day or two off someday and visit you, but for now you stay. You're all I care about," Marianne said.
I've already made arrangements for our lunch and dinner. Whoever is hungry can join. Debbie, Sophie, and Mrs. Ambrose wants to stay here to take care of Alex and monitor his progress. In the meantime, we all can have something and return back.
As all the people were leaving, Lindsay said to Debbie,
Sis, we'll be back soon. And if you don't want to go outside, we can bring some food here, but promise me you'll eat. Otherwise, I'll also stay hungry.
Debbie knew how competitive Lindsay was, and she also knew whatever she said was true. So she nodded to confirm that she will eat something. In the security room, Sawyer was still looking at the image of disguised man. He was figuring out where he had seen this person, or what is something familiar about this person. He finally looked on the left wrist, on the hand of the man, and there was a cross tattoo of a cross symbol. "Yes, that's it. That is what I was looking for," he exclaimed, like he has solved some mystery or found a treasure in an island. The in-charge security asked to Sawyer, "Sir, did you find any clue about the man? Who is he, sir?" Sawyer replied, "He is in fact an assassin, and they are actually hired to kill or gather information. I believe he was here to gather information about Alex. I'll ask some of my old friends at the Rumble Club to track this man down and find out who hired him," Sawyer said. The in-charge man then replied, "Sir, do you want to inform too Master Lewis about this? I believe Demon Sect have some people working specifically to track down people. No need for that. The less people know about this, the less this person will be aware of our plans. These assassins hide if they find out someone was looking for them. So, no need for many people to know about this," said Sawyer. "Sure, sir. I will let you handle this then," replied the in-charge security person. The episode ends with all the people leaving that clinic to have something, and Sawyer calling some of his friends regarding about the assassin and his whereabouts.